The biggest mistake that I see business owners and CEOs make after they acquire an agency or a company is that they think that it's going to continue to run with the same profitability and the same efficiency. Post-acquisition, it's very, very important for the management team, especially the CEO, to have the right plan of action and infrastructure to address the improvement points of the newly acquired entity. One of the most challenging parts of that strategy is the integration strategy into the existing organization or organizations that you may have from a profitability, culture, talent, and cash flow standpoint. So number one, you have to make sure that your finance team has a good handle on accounts receivable, accounts payable, on the leadership team that came in from the newly acquired entity, as well as the products and services that are going to actually catapult you to double, triple, quadruple your revenue with the new entity. Where is the value proposition? Where is the growth angle? And with all of this, you have to make sure that the entire organization, not only your existing organization, but the newly acquired entity shares that vision and they're on the same page with that vision. Because one of the most terrible things that might happen is that your culture might crash and burn, or the newly acquired entity basically rejects all these changes. So you have to find a few people in this newly acquired organization that share your vision. And this is why it's so essential for you to have proper valuation models before the acquisition so that you don't underpay or overpay, because both of those are actually problematic. And this is precisely why I walk away from a lot of acquisitions, a lot of opportunities, a lot of shiny agencies and shiny companies, because the risk-reward ratio basically does not make sense. The one survival tip that I would give to a first-time buyer is to truly understand the industry that they are buying into and know the industry so well that they can operate it if they have to. If this is the first company that you're buying, don't buy something completely irrelevant from what you're doing. You have to be able to operate that company, operate that agency, and know what to do from an execution standpoint. Otherwise, don't buy it. If speed matters, buy. If control matters, build. Let me explain. When I'm looking for companies or agencies or service levels, I make the decision on buying versus building depending on how simplified the concept of scalability is for that service or for that product line. Building from scratch makes more sense if you really have a good handle on the complexity of the execution of what you are building. For example, if you want to get into the robotics industry, let's say, right? It's very complex. There is a lot of know-how. It's not a simplified process. So it makes more sense for you to buy a company that already does it or has been doing it for a while than to try to build it from scratch, unless you have access to a new IP, a new technology, or a new patent. It doesn't make sense for you to build a robotics company from scratch. It makes more sense to buy an existing one. However, in the service-based businesses, it's a lot easier to build an agency or an infrastructure that actually provides a new service line. So if you're going after scalability and growth and you want to scale fast from a top line standpoint, it always helps to buy. But if you want to tap into a market that doesn't exist because you think that there's opportunity from a service standpoint, it makes more sense to build it. And I make these decisions all the time. For example, I did not know a lot about the PR business, so I went ahead and I bought an existing entity, a PR agency, because I wanted to tap into new markets. I wanted to go up market, and I didn't really know the know-how of starting this from scratch. I'm not a PR expert, I'm a marketing expert, but I don't have a lot of wisdom and a background on PR. That's why I bought an agency. But with AI optimization, I'm very in AI, and I've been an early adopter for the past almost 6 years. So I didn't have to go buy an AI optimization agency. I hired a few people and I built that department from scratch because I know how to execute and operate on that aspect of that specific service. If you're sitting on $1 million or $2 million of cash, essentially you'll move so much faster with your $1 million or $2 million cash if you buy an existing entity. But a lot of people don't want to do that because they are only focusing on risk. The risk is always there in business. What you should focus on is speed and minimizing your risk with the due diligence that you have. Most founders do not actually know or understand how exit multiples are priced out. Here is the dirty secret. You're doing $3 million in revenue, you have $500,000 of EBITDA, you think that your company is worth $5 million? No. If your company still relies on you to run the show, you're looking at a maximum of 3 to 5x EBITDA. And this is the primary reason that most business owners are not looking to sell. Why would I sell my agency, my company, that pays me $500,000 a year for $1.5 million? It makes more sense for me to run it unless I'm really burned out or unless I'm older, right? Why would I sell that specific entity? The truth behind the number from a risk-reward ratio standpoint is that whomever is going to come buy your agency or company is going to look at scalability. And most of the time, majority of the time, we have to go in and restructure everything because nothing is organized. And there are a lot of different ways that buyers really try to multiply this EBITDA because they say, well, here's all the money that I made, so here are the discretionary earnings that I have. None of that makes a difference. It doesn't make a difference if you're running a $3 million agency and you make $1 million for yourself and then another $500,000 of EBITDA. You still have $500,000 EBITDA because you are running the show for $1 million. If another agency or company buys you, they still need to hire somebody at the same level as you are to run that show. But that's why we always talk about the fact that you should buy what you know how to operate, what you know how to fix and scale. So if you're running an agency and you're doing below $10 million in annual revenue and you're dreaming about a 10x EBITDA exit, it is most likely not going to happen. For that to happen, you have to really, really focus on growth. And unless you can hit real growth numbers in the next 3 years that shows a buyer that you are able to scale this agency without you, you are not going to get those multiples. And even then, it's going to be really, really tough in my experience. You do not need more people to scale. You need more systems and less service lines. I have an agency that does about $10 million in annual revenue, and I want to go to $100 million. To be able to do that, I need to decrease the number of services that I have, do them incredibly well, focus on SOPs and systems and AI models that are going to make me more efficient in what I do, empower the leadership team that I have, it's just a few people, to really understand and see the vision and be a part of that vision. And I need to acquire other agencies that I can plug in to my integrated profitability model. Because here's the trick. If you go buy 5 different agencies or 5 different companies and all 5 of them run in different manners with different types of people, with different vision and mission statements and core values and principles, and they run on different accounting systems and different HR systems, it is going to be impossible for you to scale. So shared ops and centralized systems allow you to scale as you are buying new agencies, as you are buying new companies. But you have to have a very, very powerful integration team for this to happen. You have to have trusted people with very firm KPIs in knowing that they have to fix these specific challenges and you have to be scalable. And there's a huge difference between scaling people and scaling systems, right? Scaling people has to do with vision, mission, core values and principles. Scaling systems has to do with the core KPIs that you have that you religiously chase. And the one invisible cost that I see agencies pay all the time, and the reason that they cannot scale is because they don't pay attention to quality and what they can actually grow and scale. Most agencies try to do everything. They don't specialize in 2 to 3 things and being the best at those 2 to 3 things. They want to do everything. Anybody that cuts you a check for $50,000, yeah, I'll grab it and I'll consult you. That is not a scalable model. That will always keep you under $5-10 million. If you want to scale in any business, you have to work on the integration side of things, centralize the systems, and you have to go after mergers and acquisitions. The old PR model is dead, buried, irrelevant. The model of creating a strategy for a brand within a specific context, you might want to raise funds, you might want to sell your company and exit, you might want to get more customers, you might want to increase your lead and prospect pipeline, it doesn't really matter. The old PR model, with the context that it works in, finds journalists, finds people so that they can get you mentioned in traditional media in a non-paid manner, right? But if you're trying to just get mentions, majority of the time, you don't control context. And a lot of the PR experts are going to say, oh, but no, we do it all. No, you don't. You don't get to tell a journalist or somebody who's going to do this placement what to say in that copy. Therefore, you don't control the context of the message unless you're paying a ton of money, which becomes then PR paid placements, right? And this is precisely why we talk about engineered visibility. There is a model where you not only pitch to certain journalists and media experts a specific angle or a context when it comes to a newsworthy piece of information, you have to really align that along with the expectations of your client or whatever brand that you're pitching. But then it doesn't end there. That's only the beginning. Then you have to enhance that specific visibility. You have to push that specific visibility, and a lot of PR agencies simply don't do this. Are you breaking it down in terms of schema and AI visibility and uploading a blog post on their site talking about that placement? Are you paying attention to the conversational aspect of AI search and these conversation starters of people asking questions so that that brand might be visible for the terms that people are asking or the questions that people are asking on ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and other AI engines? Are you tying that back from your entity? It could be your website, your social media, the portal that you're working out of. Are you tying that back to the visibility that you've gotten? Are you only mentioning the brand name and sending these people back to your homepage? Are you actually creating these content pillars and the content hierarchy that's going to flow with that specific earned media placement? And here's the thing. Traditional PR experts are fighting against this so aggressively because they know that it's over. AI changes the PR game completely. Right now, it benefits PR. All these PR experts are happy because AI cites all the PR channels, all the earned media, right? But ChatGPT, Claude, they're slowly starting to index conversational sites like Reddit and other forums. It might be small forums, it might be large forums, right? And I'm telling you, it's going to be a bloodbath because AI has a memory and you either get into this memory or you do not. So you could get the best placement in New York Times, you could get the best placement on Washington Post. It might not do much for your brand if you do not control the context and if you do not enhance that specific placement, that win afterwards. And more CEOs, C-levels are going to recognize this. Startups do not have more money, they have more speed. If you're a $10 million startup and you want to beat a $100 million or a $1 billion giant, your only power is your ability to move faster than them in terms of your decisions, your expertise, and your scalability. Because let's face it, unless you have a very robust structure, a mission as an organization, or you're in the technology business, regardless of you doing $100 million or $1 billion, you will not be moving fast. You will be moving slowly. And that is the biggest weakness that big B2B businesses, especially industrial manufacturing suppliers, have. That's the biggest weakness due to the fact that they move very, very slow. It's going to take them, any $100 million company, a new technology, a new adoption, a new website is going to take them 12 months to build. 12 months. Startups move faster because they build that same thing in 30 days. Now, couple that with the fact that you can get news out faster, or you can get products and services out faster, you can test things faster and see what works, you can get ads up faster, get landing pages up faster, get video sales letters up faster, test a specific market faster, and that is your superpower as a startup. But that doesn't mean that $100 million or $1 billion companies should just give up and they're going to lose to every single startup that comes up. More and more established businesses are coming to the realization that they need to have independent departments that can move faster. And this is why we work with a lot of companies that do above $50, $100 million, and we are their agency of record, because with us, they can move a lot faster than hiring in-house, because we already have the experts and we pay a ton of money for those experts, and we can literally execute a specific campaign in 30 days while their internal team might take 6 months. So when a $100 million CEO comes and asks me a question like, this guy is nobody, he's only $10 million, how is this guy beating me on search? How is this guy beating me on AI visibility? How did this guy steal this deal from me? How did this guy steal this customer from me? My answer is always the same. How fast can your best people move in the direction that you guide them on? And the answer most of the time is not that fast. Well, if you cannot move fast, you need to find an expert or a consultant or an agency that can help you move fast, and that is your competitive edge against the small startups that have more fire, more passion, less costs, right? They're chasing the same opportunities, the same leads, but they're spending less money. You have all of this overhead. Big companies are going to learn how to move faster, or they are not going to be big anymore.